If you really just sit back and take a look at this game that's coming up this weekend, Cowboys travel to Washington to play the Commanders. Man, it's like the Cowboys versus the Cowboys. Let's talk about it right here on Cowboy Spit.
Here we go! Yeah, here we go! Wait, take
Cowboys Spit.
Throws back of the end zone. There's
What's going on, everybody? Cowboy C3 here. Cowboys versus the Commanders, football team, Redskins, whatever you want to call them. This is the Washington Commanders tomorrow, noon Central Time, 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Cowboys are a 10-point underdog in this game. It's actually 10.5 points. Weather for tomorrow looks pretty good. You know, playing in that catastrophe of a stadium, but man, they have that thing rocking this year because the Commanders put together a really good football team led by Dan Quinn and rookie Jaden Daniels. Washington has come out this season and really become a very good football team, and it goes to show you that once you put your team under new management and you take control of the roster and you put together a roster that is worthy of an NFL season, good things will happen. Just will. They had a shortcoming last week against Pittsburgh that, they made some mistakes and couldn't overcome them, but still very good football, very, very, very good football team, very talented football team. Led by Jalen Daniels, running back Brian Robinson Jr. Terry McLaurin is their best wide receiver. Dynamic route runner, also dynamic deep threat, does a lot of things well. And we'll get to it in just a second on why he could be just running through the secondary scot-free, even though there is a possibility that he couldn't be because there's a Cowboy that's coming back into the thick of things. Noah Brown, former Cowboy, is the second wide receiver in Orlando. Olame Zaccheaus is the third wide receiver. Luke McCaffrey, they also use him a lot. Christian's little brother, another player that I thought the Cowboys should have thought about getting. But, hey, Luke comes in, excellent slot receiver, done pretty good his rookie year, and then they back up Brian Robinson Jr. with Austin Ekeler. Austin Ekeler comes in. They kind of split carries 50-50, but they do, Austin Ekeler comes in, does kind of the work between the 20s. He's also an excellent pass catcher, but Brian Robinson Jr. is just a load. He comes in, puts his head down, and gets yards that he can get. Another guy that people forget about on this offense is Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz is really starting to come back into his own. He was kind of lost in his career for a little bit, but he's really resurged in this Washington offense that is very, very high-powered. Like to use their tight end. They like to go upfield. They also like to throw the ball to their backs, and they also like to run the football with their running backs, and their quarterback will run. Since the rib injury, he hasn't really run a lot, and his effectiveness has gone down too. At one point in the season, I think he was throwing the ball for 80%. That's dropped down since the rib injury, and I think the rib injury happened 3 or 4 weeks ago. He's been throwing less than 50%. So he gives you some opportunities, and he could be just a little bit banged up, and you can tell that he's been in these last couple of weeks, he's kind of been hesitant to run the football, but he's still extremely dangerous, whether running the football or passing the football. Washington's offense comes into the game ranked the 6th in the NFL. They've got 2,406 passing yards and 1,628 rushing yards this season. So very balanced offense. They do a lot of things well. Cowboys come in with the 20th ranked offense, 2,406 yards passing, 817 rushing. So they're right about the same throwing the football. Matter of fact, they're dead even. However, running the football is a totally different story. They double what the Cowboys do in running the football. So that's why they are the more efficient team this season. On defense, Daron Payne on the defensive line, defensive tackle is a absolute nightmare. Their defensive ends are, Dorrance Armstrong, former Cowboy. He's been having a pretty good season. Clyde Farrell and Jahan Newton, decent defensive linemen that are going to get after the quarterback, but they're also going to hold the ground against the run. This is a basic Dan Quinn defense led by middle linebacker Bobby Wagner. He wanted Bobby Wagner here in Dallas. He damn near begged to have Bobby Wagner come in and play middle linebacker here in Dallas. Couldn't get him while he was here in Dallas, so he went to Washington. He's the head coach now. He can get what he wants, so he got Bobby Wagner running the middle linebacker spot, and it's looking pretty good. Safety Jeremy Chin kind of leads the secondary. Love that dude's name. We got to be some kind of relation. I'm going to have to figure that out. I need to figure that out. Okay, Jeremy Chin runs is strong safety. Quan Martin is your starting free safety. Marshawn Lattimore is going to be out this game, so Michael Davis and Mike Sternstill will be your starting corners. Decent defense. Ben Badon-Brink, ranked 18th in the NFL right now. They've given up 2,028 yards passing. They've also given up 1,655 yards rushing, which tells me that you can run the football on this defense. It is a Dan Quinn defense. You can run the football, bend but don't break. Problem is you got to run the football. You got to try it, and we'll go back over that with keys to the game. So, Dallas Cowboys injury report is rather lengthy. So, Marquise Bell with a shoulder injury will be out. Deron Bland was a full participant all week in practice. He has been cleared from the injury report. He will play. With that being said, if you look down a couple of people, you see Trayvon Diggs with a groin and a knee, limited practice, questionable all year. He did not make the trip with the team. He is ruled out. That would just move Kalen Carson. Kalen Carson will stay at the same corner at the left cornerback position, and Deron Bland will just flip over to the right side, and he'll probably start there. So as far as having a pitch count and coming in and have somebody to back you up, I don't know if they do that, but I think it's a good opportunity, like I said in the previous show, to give some of these younger guys an opportunity to play football. Marshawn Nealon will not go also as well, and Zach Martin did not participate in practice. He was doubtful. He didn't even make the trip. He's not going to play. Tyler Smith did not participate in practice all week. He was limited on Friday, but they said that was more just working on the side, just kind of trying to get some mobility back in the ankle. Probably not going to play. Nick Vigil, again, did not participate in practice all week. Probably not going to play. Marshawn Nealon, like I said, he's out. He's not going to play. Chuma Egoba, back, full participant in practice. They got him listed as questionable. He's probably going to give it a shot. Brandon Cooks did not make the trip with the team. He will not play. That's your Cowboy injury report. For the Washington Commanders injury report, Marshawn Lattimore did not participate in practice all week. He's not going to go. Everybody else was full participants either on Thursday or on Friday, and they are listed to go. So Washington is coming into this game at full strength. The only person that may not play is probably Colin Farrell. But look for him to play because he was cleared off of the injury report, even though he was limited all week. He was cleared off the injury report, and I got a feeling that they're going to come full blast at the Cowboys. This is Dan Quinn's opportunity to get back with the Cowboys. Probably should have been the head coach here. Just didn't work out in his favor, and that's okay. This is where we are. Probably wouldn't want to be the head coach with this roster anyway, just to be perfectly honest. So, lot of questions about what the Cowboys are going to do this week. CeeDee Lamb, everybody, on the offense seems to be healthy except for the line. You will probably see Tyler Guyton at right tackle. You'll probably see TJ Bass at left tackle. You'll see, Cooper Beebe at center. You'll probably see Hoffman at right tackle, at right guard, and you'll see Terrence Steele at right tackle. So you'll have a kind of a put together offensive line. Look for Egoba to come in and get some playing time too, especially if Guyton starts to falter. I just think that this is a good opportunity to put Tyler Guyton over at right tackle. I do put him at right tackle, put Agoba at left tackle, and just see what you got. And this is one of those games, right, where you got these players that are injured. And we talked about tanking, right? We talked about tanking a couple of weeks ago. Should you tank? Is that something is that an option, right? And I said that I felt like they would be forced to tank. Not necessarily forced to tank, but forced to play some players that don't normally get an opportunity to play just because of injury. This has been an injury riddled season. It hasn't been good. It hasn't been good at all, especially from the injury standpoint. And that injury standpoint has kind of bled over into the field. Haven't had a good season at all. So why not give these guys an opportunity? I think that's why I titled this "Nothing to Lose," because I think this is a golden opportunity to play a lot of players that you have questions about, particularly Trey Lance, particularly him. He gives you some excitement because of his mobility. If you're going to have an offensive line that's depleted and you're going to put it together with Band-Aids, because that's what it looks like that you're doing right now, right? Why not put somebody back there that can at least extend the play? Wait for a receiver to get open. Your receivers are having a hard time getting separation anyway. You got a guy that's sitting on the bench that you put a 4th round pick on, right? So he is legitimately your 4th round pick this year. Why not give him an opportunity to run around? Cooper Rush showed you last week he's not very mobile. He's not very mobile at all. Trey Lance came into the game. He was efficient, right? He threw an interception on a plate, where he just didn't see a safety in the cover two. And a lot of people were on Jalen Tolbert for not at least making an attempt to go after the football. I don't even think he knew the football was thrown, to be honest. But give him an opportunity. I said something a couple episodes ago about not trusting him to throw 25 passes. Well, shit, man, you got nothing to lose. Let him throw 50 of them. Let's just see what we got. You have no idea. Cooper Rush may be here next year. He may not. Trey Lance has still got years on this contract that you had him sign. And he's getting paid like $12 million. Well, he's been paid, I think, $9 million to be here. Why not give him an opportunity to go? Just give him the opportunity. There's nothing wrong with having him come into the football game, even if you put him inside the red zone and let him run some read option. I said that last week. They didn't do it. Matter of fact, he didn't even play. The punter threw more passes than he did. Let the dude come in and get an opportunity to showcase what he's got. If you don't do it now, right? If you don't do it in this game, at least do it Thanksgiving, right? There's a reason that if you look online right now for Cowboy tickets, they $28 for Thanksgiving Day. And I'm not talking about in the standing room either. I'm talking about you can get a seat for $28. There's a reason. It's because the team is not that fantastic. And if the team is not that fantastic, let's put some guys in here that, want to give them an opportunity. See what you got. They'll come out here. They'll play hungry. They'll definitely be hungry because they're looking to extend their work career. Football is their career. This is their job. Give them an opportunity to extend it. So with that being said, 10.5-point underdogs. What can you do to kind of exploit some of the weaknesses that this Washington defense has, for one, because they do not stop the ball well, and take maybe some advantage of why Jaden Daniels, he hasn't been as effective as he had been in the previous weeks in the beginning of the season, and it's because he's a little banged up. So what can the Cowboys do? Cowboys keys to victory. Key number one on offense is you are going to have to establish some sort of running game to take the pressure off of your quarterbacks. You have to. This offensive line is not going to hold up under sustained pressure and just dropping back and throwing the football 50 times. It can't do it. Dak kind of gave you an opportunity back there because he's very good under pressure. And then even he started to falter under the pressure from this offensive line because it's just not good. I think it will be better in the future. I think there's some pieces that you're going to have to replace, particularly the entire right side of your offensive line. But these things can be done in free agency, and they can also be done in the draft. But you have to address it, and you have to attack free agency. That's something that you have to do. So number one key to game on offense is establish some sort of running game. Number two, Effective throws. If you have to keep it short, keep it short. Washington, small defensive ends, that's what they like. Dan Quinn defense, they get after the quarterback and they do a pretty good job of it. But they leave gaps when they rush wide, they leave gaps. It gives perfect off tackle run, lanes to run through, right? But then if you run some play action passes and get the ball out of the quarterback's hands, whether it's Cooper Rush or Trey Lance, it doesn't matter which one it is. Just get the ball out of your hands quick and give these wide receivers, and your running backs and tight ends as well. Give them an opportunity to, make a guy miss and get down the field. CeeDee Lamb has an opportunity to have one of these big monster games that can keep you in the football game. I'm not saying that he can win it single-handedly, but he can keep you in it. Because Washington, they will give up some passes, right? They'll give up yards. They will do that. Key number 3. Absolutely no turnovers. None whatsoever. You can't fumble the ball inside the goal, inside the red zone. You can't throw any costly interceptions that are going to, cost your team the football game. You can't get strip sacked and a guy picks the ball up and runs it 45 yards in for a touchdown. You can't have any of this happen this week, and you stand a chance. On defense, you are going to have to stop the run. Mobile quarterbacks have given the Cowboys issues for 10 years, at least 10 years. This guy can run the ball, but he's running. He's kind of ginger, and that's because of the ribs. You have to keep him under contain. You have to hit Brian Robinson early. You got to get him in the backfield before he gets started, because when he gets started, he's hard to handle. Austin Eckler is a blur. He's going to hit the ball. He's going to hit the hole extremely hard and extremely fast and try to get into your second level and outrun somebody to the corner and score long runs. He also deadly out of the backfield. I mean, he can catch the ball just like a wide receiver. You have to control that. You have to. Which brings me to my second point. And it's kind of a point every week. And the Cowboys did a pretty decent job at it last week. They didn't do bad. They didn't do great, but they didn't do bad. Is you have to keep the speed in front of you. McLaurin is fast. Noah Brown has got decent speed, but he's long, he's tall, and these guys are going to operate on the inside, and they're going to try to get one of these receivers, either McLaurin, or they're going to try to get Eckler out of the backfield. They're going to try to get them up the field. You have to keep the speed in front of you. Kind of glad that Bland comes back, because Bland is a great test. We'll test that foot out early, and they're going to test it out often, because Bland will probably be one-on-one versus Terry McLaurin. That's probably what he's going to do. And, if Washington is smart, which every team has been pretty smart against the Cowboys this year, is I'm lining up my number one receiver over on the rookie, and I'm trying to take advantage of the rookie. I wouldn't be surprised if Bland starts to move around a little bit tomorrow, just to give the Cowboys some sort of opportunity to shut that down. Third key on defense, you have to tackle well. You have to. No broken tackles. You got to get to the ball, see ball, get to ball, hit the ball carrier. You got to get there in a group. No one-on-ones, at least try to limit the one-on-ones, right? Because this is the NFL. You're going to get in one-on-one situations where you're going to have to make an open field tackle. But gang tackle, get to the football. Cowboy linebackers have done a pretty decent job at that. They really have. But it's going to take everybody. It's going to take the safeties. It's going to take your corners. It's going to take your defensive line. It's going to take your linebackers. It's going to take everybody. 11 people to the football every single time. If you can pull this off, you have an opportunity to at least make this football game competitive. With all that being said, my prediction is Washington 30, Cowboys 14. That's my prediction. And the reason that I think the score is lopsided that way, it's 10 points. I got them losing by 13. The reason that I say that is because I just don't think that the Cowboy offense can sustain drives long enough to keep the defense rested, to keep them energized, to keep them off the field long enough to stop this Washington offense. I just don't think that they can. But I think that you have an opportunity to do that if you sprinkle in some Trey Lance. And the reason being is because Trey can extend plays. Pocket breaks down. Trey can run a couple times and get you a couple first downs. He won't tear his hamstring running the football. I can almost guarantee you that. He's more mobile than Cooper Rush. If he starts to feel the pressure, he'll find a crease, hit the hole, and get you, 6 or 7 yards on the scramble and get you some first downs that you desperately need just to keep your defense rested. Cowboy defense did a pretty good job against Houston last week, a very high-powered offense. They did a good job against them in the first half. In the second half, the Cowboy offense could not sustain drives. They got tired, and they got beat. This is pretty simple. Keep your defense off the field as long as possible. The easiest way to control a high-powered offense is to keep them on the sideline. That's the easiest way. Control them by keeping them on the sideline. What does that mean? Ball control offense. Run, mix some running with the pass. Don't get just comfortable with throwing the football 45, 50 times a game. That's not going to win you NFL football games. You have to be able to run the ball, especially as it starts to get colder. You have to. You got to be able to run the ball. It's an outdoor game. It's gonna be clear. Not gonna be any rain or anything like that, but it's gonna be a little chilly. And you're gonna have to be able to run the football tomorrow. You're gonna have to do it. You don't have a choice. And I don't even care who it is. It can be Rico Dowdle, it can be Zeke, it can be Dalvin Cook. We haven't seen him in a couple of weeks. It can be Deuce Vaughn. It can be CeeDee Lamb coming out of the backfield once or twice, not 10 or 12 times. It can be Turpin coming out of the backfield. Turpin's going to have to be involved tomorrow, catching some quick passes, just because I just don't trust the offensive line to get him up the field. I don't trust the offensive line to get any of the receivers up the field. Just deliver the ball. Jake Ferguson, you're going to be without your tight end tomorrow because he's definitely out with a concussion. He hasn't passed concussion protocol yet, so Schoonmaker's going to have to be involved in the offense. Devin Spanford is going to have to be involved in the offense. You're going to have to put together a game plan that can make this game competitive, and I just don't think that the Cowboys right now in this particular moment can put together a game plan to be competitive with anybody. I just don't. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm proven wrong. I do, but I've only missed one game this year. I only missed one, and I picked them to lose Pittsburgh, and they beat them. And Pittsburgh turned out to be a very, very good football team. They did, and the Cowboys are doing a pretty good job at handling them. So, tomorrow, noon Central Time, Cowboys versus Washington in Washington. Hopefully we can make this competitive. That's the only thing that you ask for. Literally, like the title said, nothing to lose. Go out there and play like it. Just go out there and play like it. Let the chips fall where they may. Go out there, play hard, run fast, do the things that football is a fun game. And I think the Cowboys have kind of lost sight of that this year. And it's easy to lose sight of that when you're losing. It is. But go out there and have fun, man. Just let them go. Let them hang. Do whatever you got to do. And if you fall short of it, it's okay because you play hard. And that's all you can ask them to do. Don't quit. Don't give up. Don't have your head hanging on the sideline. These leaders of this football team need to keep these guys energized on the sideline and keep their game, their minds focused on the football game. You're going to be minus some key starters again. You're going to be minus even more key starters this week. So some of these young guys get in there, man, and show why you belong on the NFL roster spot. Okay? You guys have a great night. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow right after the game. Tomorrow, noon, Washington versus Dallas. We'll see y'all right after. Go Cowboys, DCFL. See y'all soon. Peace.